Good evening and welcome to this event, At Home with Charlotte Ballet. My name is Hope Muir and I am the Artistic Director of the company. I am thrilled to be able to present tonight a work that was created on the company in January of this year for our innovative series. I asked choreographer Christopher Stuart, who is also the resident choreographer of Nashville Ballet, to create a work inspired by the installation at the Mint Museum by the Dutch duo Studio Drift. Tonight we'll go behind the scenes, look at some rehearsal footage and interviews with all of the collaborators. At this time when our theatres are dark, we felt it's very important to connect with you in this way and to bring you the art that binds us all together. So for the connoisseurs or just the culturally curious, I hope you enjoy this evening's performance by Charlotte Ballet of Christopher Stuart's Dispersal.
But actually, so what you can see, these are the drones, but we have used 600 of those, and they murmurate. We've developed a program that they make the same choices as these huge amounts of groups of birds that swarm and make these patterns in the sky.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
now I understand. Yeah.
And that's what we did. And it constantly changes and moves and distracts. How you say that? Like
yes,
moves like this, and it's in the sky, so it's very impressive. And
they don't know why the birds do that, right?
Well,
or am I wrong on that?
They don't know exactly, but we have figured out some of those things. I mean, many people are studying this and figuring those things out. But it's always constant. There needs to be constant input. If there's no input, they don't do anything. So that whether that is air streams or an insect coming in, or like other intruder birds that want to, I don't know, pick on them or something like that, there's constant input, and that makes them do this. We noticed if we in our software, if we don't deliver any input, they go in like really boring.
Wow.
So they need that. It's very interesting to find that out by working with software and trying things and watching it and doing it.
I can imagine. Wow. So 600 of these.
Yes. We started actually with a line of motors on the top and like a thing that moves it up and down, and then you can also stop it at a certain point. You have much more control. But it was just not as natural as this. And this is real natural movement. Wow. And that is what we wanted to capture. You see the reflections of the light moving over the glass. So look at that as well. There's another aspect to that. That might also be, I don't know if you work in that way with dance, but you know, everything that's reflective and moves, if the lines are static, the reflections move along.
Yeah, it's a completely different element added to it. Now my eyes glued to the light.
Yeah.
It has this kind of like energy going into the center. Well, it always starts with me as the music, or a theme, or
Yeah, something.
Something has to draw me, because I think movement is in anyone's body, and choreography steps are easy for me, but I need something that draws out the movement. So especially music, a painting, poem, art installation, or somebody's work. That's what drives me.
Yeah.
It always starts with that, and then I can go from there.
Ralf en Lonneke zijn opgeleid aan de Design Academy in Eindhoven. Dus ze zijn echt begonnen in het vormgevingsgebied, zou je kunnen zeggen. Ze zijn een duo wat een heel interdisciplinair werk heeft. Zowel performance heeft ermee te maken als beeldende kunst. Ze komen zelf uit de vormgeving. En al die aspecten zijn eigenlijk van oudsher heel belangrijk in het Stedelijk Museum. En je ziet bijvoorbeeld in de Fragile Future, die Lonneke al op de Design Academy heeft ontwikkeld, dat aanvankelijk vrij kleine lichtinstallaties, soms zelfs een soort lamp was, maar dat zich dat nu ook helemaal heeft ontwikkeld tot ruimtevullende installaties. Wat ik heel interessant aan hun werk vind, is dat ze installaties maken die een enorme impact op het publiek hebben. Maar het gaat niet zozeer om die impact zelf. Het gaat er eigenlijk om dat doordat die installaties impact hebben op iemand, mensen echt erbij stil blijven staan en ook gaan nadenken over allerlei achterliggende thema's. En daarom vind ik hun werk ook echt passen in een museum.
Ja, wat ik heel erg interessant vind is het eindeloze vermogen van de mensen om zich aan te passen en om vooruit te komen. Er zit zo'n drive in ons om altijd maar beter en beter en beter. En het zit ook in de natuur. De natuur verbetert zich ook constant.
I love it that it almost looks like a spine, like somebody's spine.
Could
I love it
yeah.
with because my movement, I always originate most movement from the spine.
Yeah,
and then it kind of trickles down, so it's kind of interesting to look at it.
Our spines are maybe not that flexible.
Maybe.
But it's also, it can be a bird wing flap, but it could also be a wave.
Yes.
It can be anything actually in nature that moves. But the speed is very important. So when we were programming this, we tried different speeds. And also, I mean, there's a relation because there are little weights, and these weights move from left to right, and that is what creates the movement. So there's a relation between the amplitude that it goes and the speed of this. So if you make it move faster, also the amplitude will be higher. So you get more aggression in it. And you have to find this balance that it feels very natural and it feels calming, basically.
Interesting.
You have to find the right wavelength that people can tune into and feel that. And that is what we work with. Fragile Future is a modular system. It's actually based on the fact that the dandelion is seen as a weed and it spreads very easily. We can have Fragile Future growing over a wall, sometimes it drips down from a ceiling and it becomes a hanging piece. If you really look very closely to everything around us, how things in nature are constructed, it's so complicated and it's so well done and it's also so logical, and then you really wonder if nature is not the high-tech part in our world.
And then what is the...
That's a copper, it's actually phosphorus bronze, it's a circuit. Okay. So there's a plus and minus, and this is one element, so it starts here.
Okay.
And this element is repeated like 500 times in this installation. We build, it's like a building block, like an electrical circuit. And we react to the space and make a installation according to the space.
So what inspired you for this one? Like what?
The dandelion.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
The dandelion itself, I mean a dandelion, when you have a dandelion, it can lift up in the air and it goes somewhere else. It grows again and it goes somewhere else. It's this constant dynamics that's in it, but you can see it physically in that seed. It's not only the idea, you can just see that it's meant to fly. And it's so beautiful how that is made. Op het moment dat de paardenbloemen uitgebloeid zijn en de pluisjes open gaan, gaan wij elk jaar paardenbloempluisjes plukken. En dan plakken wij die pluisjes op ledjes. Het steeltje van die paardenbloem heeft een gelijke grootte van een ledje. Dus dat past eigenlijk perfect. Dat kan je zo voor elkaar inwisselen. En die paardenbloemen die gaan dus licht geven in een driedimensionale printplaat. En de plaat is ook weer weg. Dus het is eigenlijk alleen maar de print. En dat element kan je verbinden met het volgende gelijke element. En het volgende. En eigenlijk kan je daar hele installaties mee bouwen. Een soort van eindeloze woekering. Wat eigenlijk de ontdekking was bij Fragile Future was dat die natuurlijke zaadjes zo goed aansluiten op de elektronica dat het in één keer niet meer twee totaal verschillende werelden leken. Dus eigenlijk iets wat ik voorheen zag als soort van technologie als vijand van de natuur. Dat loste daar helemaal op en kwam daar een soort van in balans. En daar gaat eigenlijk Fragile Future over. This endlessness that is in nature, that is so beautiful. We are also part of that. And we wanted to create a system that is endless. It can constantly change. We can just now switch the screws and put this element there. So it's constant. It can constantly swap. So
ever evolving.
Exactly. And this flexibility is what we need also in our systems. Very important.
That is very true.
So this is I think an example of how nature and technology can merge, completely become one and don't fight each other, but just work with each other.
We adapt to our surroundings. It's like for me right now, I'm in a new place. I'm adapting to my surroundings here. What's so interesting about dandelions is that people think that the flower is a weed, which is just not actually a weed, but we as in the society for some reason over the years just think of like, ugh, just rip it up, that's awful. But with the seeds, the thing is that they blow away and that every time they go somewhere, they're not a weed, they adapt to their surroundings. So for me, my piece, I'm kind of taking that and kind of making it into like for humans.
My name is Cristina Spinei, and I'm a composer and pianist based in Nashville, Tennessee. My music is mostly inspired by movement. I love dance, and I always knew that I wanted to be a composer that works with dance companies. Some of my first commissions out of Juilliard were for the New York Choreographic Institute and for Pacific Northwest Ballet with Keanu Gaines.
Working with Chris has been wonderful. It's always exciting as a dancer to meet a new choreographer and learn kind of their style and find out how you fit within that style. And I think we've had a great time all together working with him. Part of his inspiration from Studio Drift was the dandelion piece, which had some angular structure to it, and then we came up with these boxes to use as props in the piece.
It's just so magical to see my music come to life on stage with choreography and costumes and lighting. I love collaborating with people, and working with choreographers is one of my favorite things. My music is very driving, a little minimalist, but I really emphasize melody. I think the combination of having music that repeats but has a good flow to it and strong melody is really important. So I call my music minimalish, and it lends itself well to dance, I think.
To me, it's about adapting to our surroundings. Dandelion seeds are often thought of that they fly through the air and they land, and then that's the end of their journey, but that's actually the start of their journey.
I was very, very excited when Christopher Stuart asked to use my music for his piece Dispersal. I've seen Chris's works at the Nashville Ballet many, many times, And I just love how he has this really cool take on ballet. It's modern and fresh, but it's still respectful of the tradition of traditional ballet. His piece that he created, I think, is extraordinary. It's so beautiful. I'm really glad that people are given the chance to watch Dispersal because I love it. It's incredible. The music for Dispersal is actually from my new album, Ex Voto. I just released it 3 weeks ago, the end of February, and it's my first album as a pianist. I took 2 years and recorded myself playing piano. There's a piece on it also for violin and piano called Il Nodo, and there's a piece for cello and piano also on it. And the music is very personal, it's very reflective and kind of introspective. And it was inspired by a trip that I took to the Cloisters Museum in New York. I've always loved going there. It's just one of the most beautiful places in Manhattan. So I thought I should write a piece, or an album rather, inspired by that place. So again, I'm just so thrilled that Chris is using the music of Ex Voto for Dispersal, and I'm so happy that everybody gets to see it.
And with me, I think of as a dancer or a choreographer or any human being, we have to adapt. Each section of my ballet is the dancers adapting to each other and or their surroundings of what they're doing on stage.
I think that Chris is definitely a fan of some fun, difficult partnering, which I also enjoy doing that type of thing. So it's been fun watching him sort of give an idea and then trying to execute it right there on the spot. Because sometimes when you're told by a choreographer, oh, I want to see this type of shape or this type of lift, you have to, in that moment, just kind of like figure out where your arms are going to go, figure out what grip you need, and then just try to show it. And that can be difficult as a dancer, but it's also like so much fun, and the challenge is the best part, because when you do it and it actually turns out well, then you're like, that felt good. You have a nice moment with that.